Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a deck building and bidding game called Palaces. In this game, the players are going to be using their starting deck of cards to bid on more cards. And they're going to be using those cards as they cycle through their deck to bid on even further cards. Now, those cards they're bidding on are going to have special abilities, and they are also buying those cards or attempting to win them in order to build palaces. Two of them in front of them, and you are trying to have the highest palaces, okay? That's what the game is all about. I'm going to go ahead and show you on the table what the game looks like, a little bit of how it plays, and then we're going to come back up here and I'm going to tell you what I think of this one, okay? Here we go. To set up the game, we're going to give each player a starting deck of cards of 12 cards, and that's going to be 3 gold, 3 silver, 3 crystal, and 3 jade. That is also the ranking of these different kinds of elements, by the way. And you have over here the different kinds, gold, silver, crystal, jade. These are the towers that you are going to be building in order to attempt to win. The players are going to be building 2 towers. They must match each other, but they can be built at different rates. And at the end of the game, whoever has the tallest, shortest tower, so of the 2 you have, the shortest, whoever's got the tallest in that is going to be the winner. If there's a tie, for, say I have my tallest is 4, that's the best of the table, but somebody else has 4 as their second tallest, then we check the top level. Gold beats silver, so on, okay? So we're going to put this one aside. We've got every player has their own deck here. We've got 3 players. They're going to shuffle up these 3 decks that you can tell apart from a little line right here on the inside of the frame. So this is the red deck. This one has a little teal line, and this one is purple, as you can see there. You're going to shuffle these 3 up. You're going to select 12 cards from each. I'm just going to estimate for the overview here. So 12 from each. You're going to put those on the table, and then you are going to flip over the top one from each. So we'll put one there, one there, one there, like that, okay? And then you are ready to begin. Everybody shuffles up their deck. They're going to draw 4 cards, and you are going to give the star player a little wooden cube here to someone, and you are good to go. So, the players are going to be attempting to collect these cards to win bids for these cards, and then using those abilities if they want to, and then also building these floors over here. So I'll be the start player. I'm also going to be giving you here my best approximation at the rules. As far as I can tell, this is all correct, but the rules are very hard to understand. I had to, there was a lot of sort of going online and figuring out if I was doing this correctly. I had to go find a German review and translate that and sort of attempt to decipher that. I think this is all right, okay? All right, so here we go. I'm going to be the start player right over here. So on my turn, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select one of these that I want to be competing for, the one I am attempting to win. I am going to, for example, select this one. I'll move it down here. And then, and you can flip over the next one, I guess, once this is done. I don't know. Then we are going to bid on this. It's a once-around bid, starting from the player after the star player, the one who picked this. So starting from that player, you are going to be bidding sets. So that player over there can say 2 silver, and they're going to be bidding 2 silver. This card right here can be used as part of that bid. So technically, they can say 2 silver, 1 gold. Okay, so 2 silver, 1 gold is their bid, and then this player is going to take a look at their hand, and they are going to say 3 crystals. The size of the group is the most important thing, meaning 3 jade, which is the worst thing, will be 2 of anything, okay? So 3 crystal is what that player says, and then I take a look at my hand, and I could say 3 gold, because again, I can count this one. That's 1 gold. I have 2 more here. That's the best bid. 3 gold beats 3 crystal over here. That's it. That's once around. I win. I'm going to go ahead and play these. That's when I would show what I mean to play. And I'm going to grab this one as well. And then I trigger powers on any of these. The starting ones don't have any powers. And this one says you may return any card, but a keep card or one copying it from your bid to your hand after a successful bid. Okay, so not this one, but I could return, say, this card to my hand. All right, Another thing I can do on my turn is I can build one tower floor of the color that I just won. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put that in front of me. At the beginning, obviously, I'm just starting one of my towers. But now that I've done this, if I later on, my next win, let's say, is a jade floor, it has to go on the same tower. I cannot start the other tower with it because the floors must match. Meaning if gold is my opening move on one tower, gold must be the second floor, the first floor on the secondary tower. If I later win jade on here and then I win some crystal, well, I better make sure that it's jade here and then crystal. Does that make sense? And so at the end, I'm going to score whichever one is the lower of the two. So my score right now would be 3, tiebreaker being crystal here. If that's still a tie, we check the next floor and so on. All right? So I build my gold. I take all the cards I played for this round, except the one I was able to put back in my hand, and I discard them in my own discard pile. And everybody else who did not win is going to draw some cards from their deck. That's the only time, really, unless a card ability says you do, that you draw cards. If the card I won was one of the 2 better ones, gold or silver, everybody draws 2 cards. If the card I won was crystal or jade, everybody draws 1. So this player draws 2 cards. This player draws 2 cards. I pass the start player cube. We flip over the next one. This is the start player. They can select which one they want. So they'll take a look at their hand here. And they'll try for that crystal because they've got quite a bit of it in there. So they'll probably be able to win. So this player makes the first bid. They take a look at their hand. They'll say 4 crystal. Which they have, 4 crystal. And again, they don't have to show this, they just say it. In fact, there's a rule in there that says you're allowed to lie. And if you win, and you cannot pay or choose not to, you just discard a card. And then we bid once around for this thing again, excluding that player. So 4 crystal, I take a look at my hand, and I go, pass. And then this player over here has 4 crystal. So they're going to say, well, 4 crystal, 1 jade, which is the best thing they can, the thing they can say to beat that player. 4 crystal, including this one, 1 jade, that'll do it. All right, they show that. They grab this one. This one says, this card counts as an additional crystal for bidding. So technically, everybody would have been saying, this player would have been saying 5 crystal. 5 crystal for me, no. This player, 5 crystal, 1 jade, okay? That's how that works. And so they do that. They can trigger powers on cards, and they can build the level they are allowed to build in whatever order they want to, in case it matters. So that player builds that. They're going to discard all these. We are going to, that player will not draw any cards. The 2 of us who did not win get to draw 1 card, because again, it was one of these 2 colors. So we each draw 1. I draw 1 to my hand here. We flip over the next one, and this moves along. So there we go. The game's going to be over when one of the colors runs out, or when one of the decks out here runs out, and we bet on the last one, okay? So there we go. That's it. And then you compare, like I said, towers. You check your lowest of the 2, so the shortest tower of the 2, and if my shortest is 3, their shortest is 2, their shortest is 4, they win. If it's a tie, we check again the levels, starting from the top. My shortest is also 4 like theirs, but my top level is gold, and their top level is anything else, then I win. There you go. That is how the game works. Now, of course, one thing you're not seeing, and in fact you won't see in the game for a long time because the deck cycling is very slow, is that since I bought this card, and it's in my discard pile, whenever my deck runs out and I need to draw cards, I will shuffle, of course, this deck, and then these special abilities are going to start making their way into my hand, and as I bid with them, they will be whatever color they are. I could, bid 2 jade here. Well, if I'm bidding on that, I could say 3 jade, and bid on that, assuming that's the winning combination. I could play these, and then I can trigger this power and this power from my bid, okay? Choose a suit. All players may build a level in that suit, and this one says moat. Stays in play until used. Discard the moat from play or from your hand to remove yourself entirely from a card effect. There you go. And then you discard that. So that's the game. That's how it works. Let's go ahead and go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Palaces. Let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm going to start with the positive, and we'll end up with the things I thought were unfortunate misses for this one. Somewhere under the surface of this game, buried in there, are the seeds of a pretty solid, clever game. Unfortunately, it is buried under there, and it's sort of impenetrable, and it is by turns too clever, and but has issues with cadence. There's quite a bit going on in here, but again, this is not something that I was able to easily dismiss out of hand. It's not one of those bad games, okay? This is a game that I played quite a few times to get ready for the review because I was just trying to mine at something, okay? Trying to dig at something hidden under the surface. My positives are that, yes, there are, and these are not positives, these are middling scores, okay? None of the categories for me with this game had a plus next to them. It's either neutral or you'll see a minus symbol next to them, which means I thought it was not great. So, tactics, luck, and strategy. There are some good choices here. There are some clever moments here. They are, again, not bombastic. They're not particularly exciting. They are fairly obvious. What you bid and you know, with what and how and when. Those things are fairly obvious. But there are some interesting choices, you know, which I think it would be it would not be right for me to say this game is devoid of interesting tactics or strategy. There's some things in there. The other thing is the replay value. And that there is some replay value, and that comes bundled in with the fact that you're not using all of the cards in the game. Like I said, you take 12 from each of those decks. So there's going to be some sense of discovery there. What cards you like, what works well for you, what colors you want on the cards, right? So I want more jade. I want my deck to be jade heavy because that'll hopefully allow me to bid a lot more, right? All of those things. So there's some replay value there. Again, it's not great, but there's some. Now everything else, I don't like. The theme just feels so underwhelming. Like I wish a little more effort had gone towards that. Even the name of the game is so painfully generic. Palaces? I mean, the fact that the clever twist in the game, the one thing that I think does make for an interesting, sort of tactical pursuit, is the double palace thing, where you have to build two palaces, but they have to be identical. So as soon as you set one color floor on one of the two, then the other one suddenly has to mirror it when you get to that level. That's cool. Palaces? Call it, anything would have made it slightly more memorable than that. Twin palaces. The palaces of someplace. Come on. It's so generic, you know? So the theme is just painfully non-existent. But not just that. It's that sort of like, we're going to try. No, we're not. That's worse than just saying this game is abstract, you know? The aesthetics are also not good. Plastic pieces are okay. And then the cards have a messy look to them a little bit. Like the font usage is a little interesting. Colors and where the colors are not great. Backs of the cards I don't think are attractive. I'm not loving the look of these. Card quality is okay. So, again, I'm not feeling the aesthetics on this one. And then the cover's not very good either. Replay value I already talked about. Game arc. It also gets a thumbs down because I like the clever parts of it, but it doesn't really gel into a good game arc. The deck building of it is really slow. You're not going to cycle your deck for a while. And then when you do cycle the deck, wow, a card you win the second time through the deck will take you so long to see that it doesn't generate that excitement of a deck building game where you can feel yourself getting better at the game. You will not feel that in this game. It is so slow, okay? And then it also lacks exciting moments. Like I said, it's very sort of workmanlike, the play of this game. You bid this much, you bid this much, I can bid this. Indeed, I will. I win the thing. Draw a card, do a thing, build a floor. Put those aside, they're going to cycle back into the deck in about 25 minutes. That's not good. It's not good game arc. It's very flat, very slow. The game's also can sometimes be really long. So that's not good. It's both long and kind of slow. Lastly, then, would be ease of play, and this is my biggest negative, okay? This game has, I'm sorry to say, because I really tried, it's got a really terrible rulebook. This is the rulebook. This is it. There are, you'll see no pictures, except for one diagram, which explains the scoring. Meaning, you know, like the fact that, well, this player has two little thingies there, to everybody's one, so they win. That's it. That's the only picture in the entirety of this. The bidding mechanism. Oh my goodness. I beat my head against that rule book for hours trying to figure out how this bidding worked. I played once. Wasn't right. I was like, no, this doesn't seem right. So I went online. There are no questions answered on BGG, Board Game Geek, from the publisher, from the designer, just not there. Okay, folks have questions. They're just not answered. I went to the publisher's website. There's no information there. I went online. There's very little coverage, so I found a German review, like I said in the overview. I translated that. I sort of took a look at their example of gameplay. I was like, okay, I think I understand what they did, and I think I understand what I'm supposed to be doing in this. It's truly bad. Truly, truly bad. I can say with no hesitation and no concern about whether I'm being humble or not that I think this video will be the absolute best example of how to play this game on the internet up to this point. That's not bragging. That's just a comment on the support from the company of this game. Because you can survive in this day and age a bad rulebook. You can. A terrible rulebook. But that doesn't mean I'm going to give it a high score, right? I'm just saying that game will then, like, boop, 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 rise. Once the FAQs come out, people jump on it, they fix it, they, you know, new rulebook is published, all that stuff. But you cannot survive as a bad rulebook and then no attention to the game, you know, which is unfortunate. I don't think the game is, like I said, devoid of fun, and I don't think it is a brain-dead game. I think there are clever parts here. Maybe too clever, you know? Because there's sort of a few new ideas. The deck building meets bidding thing, that feels new. The Twin Towers thing, that feels different. But they're just buried under an inaccessible layer of issues. It's ugly, it's got no theme, it's hard to comprehend, that keep it from being something I could recommend, you know? It's just not worth that hassle. So, there you go. That is Palaces. I'm going to rate this one a 4 out of 10 and it gets that score again because I think some of the ideas in there are clever. I'm hoping this is the kind of thing that gets reworked, rethemed, retooled, and maybe we'll find an audience. As it is right now, no, I cannot recommend this, okay? So there you go, everybody. That's it for me. My name is Zee Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.